Hey guys, and welcome to Coding for Kids. Today we're going to be looking at the introduction to Python. So let's get started. First, let's go over the overview of today's video. So we're going to be going over programming and what is programming. Then we're going to be looking at Python specifically. Then we're going to be installing Python because that's a big part of coding with Python. Then we're going to be looking over the basics for Python, so just like a couple of simple codes. And then finally, we're going to be coding. So let's get started. Now, first, we're going to be looking at programming in general. So in simple terms, programming is how you get computers to solve problems. Without the programmer, though, the computer is useless. You are the one who tells the program what to do. Computers are tools. They are complex tools, but in the end, they exist to make tasks easier. For example, let's say you want to divide two numbers. So 30 divided by 3. Now, I know that's really simple, but instead of you doing the math by yourself, you can go and make a program. And then after that, you can divide any number you want. So it could even be a big number, like 300 divided by 3. It doesn't need to be small numbers. And then that makes your life easier. So you're not doing all this by yourself. That's why calculators exist, because when you're doing math, you won't have all the time to do everything by yourself. So if we have a calculator, it makes things easier. So computers are tools that make our life easier, and programming them is how we get those big tools that help us. So now we're going to be looking at Python. So Python is a very popular programming language. With Python, you can do web development, software development, math, and system scripting. Python is a scripting language, which means it reads and executes one line at a time. So, like other languages, Python, it's not gonna look at your code as a whole. It's gonna go one by one, and if it finds an error in one line, it's not gonna execute the rest of it. It's gonna stop because, let's say you have an error in your first line. It's gonna stop at your first line because it's gonna say you have an error there. So then it won't even look at the other bit of code after that. It's just gonna stop right when it sees an error. So it looks at one line at a time. Now let's go over installing Python. So first you're gonna go to ideally and then python.org, and I have linked the slideshow in the description, and I will also link python.org in the description. So go to this website, then you're gonna click on the downloads button right here, and then you'll see a drop down menu. Now click on the current version. It is not 3.10.6, but whatever current version it is, it's constantly changing over time. So whenever you see this video, whatever version it's at, click that, and then you will click a bunch of tools and buttons, and it'll ask for questions. But after that process, ideally will be on your device. So this is how you install Python. If you do have any more questions, it's pretty self-explanatory, but the Python website itself has many instructions to installing it. Now we're going to be going over the Python basics. The most basic code that everyone does their first time while learning Python is Hello World. The Hello World example is basically just printing the statement on the screen using the print function. We can also add single line comments using a hashtag. You can add multiple line comments using 3 quotation marks. Comments are used to explain code to yourself or others. These comments will be executed as code. So for print hello world is the most basic code you'll see. When you're learning Python for the first time, this is what you're going to be seeing, print hello world. And basically what it's saying is you're basically printing whatever message is here. And we'll go over more data types later. But this is a string data type, which means whatever you put in these quotation marks, it'll just print that out. So you could even put numbers in here and it'll print it out. Whatever is in these quotation marks will print. So now you can see also here we have a comment. So even though this is code, since it is in the hashtag, it's a comment, so it won't be executed. Comments are like, for example, let's say it's not really helpful for like 1 or 2 lines of code, but if you're writing like a huge game or a huge program, like when you're showing it to others, you want it to make sense and you want them to understand the code as well. So then you would add comments, so it's easier for you to read and it's also easier for others to read. So even if you're referring back on your code, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember what this does. So here, even though this is code, it is a comment, so it won't be executed. And this is a multi-line comment, which means that you can extend it over multiple lines. Now we have the print hello, which this will be executed because it is not a comment. So now we are going to be doing some coding. For Python, you can use Ideally, which you just installed, or you could use Replit, and that also has Python on it as well. So bring either program up, and then we can start coding. So now we are in Ideally. So first I am going to just write down my code, and if you see in the options place, you can show line numbers just to make it easier for yourself. So first, let's do print hello world. So this is how you would do print hello world. So first you would put your print function, which is already a pre-made function by Python. So you don't need to define the function, it's already there for you. Then you would add your quotation mark showing that this is a string, so whatever inside will print. Now I'm gonna do hello world just because that's what everyone does, but you could put anything you want. I could really even put coding for kids just to demonstrate, and this would still print. So if I run, it's gonna ask me to save, and then it's gonna ask me to name it, so I'll just say hello world, and then it'll run it, and it'll take a couple of seconds because it is kind of slow. But then you can see coding for kids does print just like we put, and you could put anything you wanted. So I could even put my name if I really wanted to, and it would still print. It would ask me to save, and then it would still print. So whatever you do in those quotation marks, it'll print it out. So now let's look at comments. So let's say I add a comment and I say, this is how to print something. So this will just give me an idea. So when I'm looking back at the code, I'll be like, oh, this is how. So then if I run, nothing will be affected. Just because I wrote that comment, nothing's gonna change. So for multi-line comments, I could just go hello this, or hello this, this is a multi-line comment. And then I would close it up, and then the next line would be regular again. So this is how you write multi-line comments. Most of the time you'll just find single line comments like this, but there will be occasions where you do see multi-line comments. And then whatever you write after this would not be affected. So then if you run, you would get Rithika and coding for kids, just like so. And because I wrote these 2 comments, nothing's gonna change. So this is the basics for Python that you will be seeing. So that is pretty much it for the coding portion of this video. So now let's get back to the slideshow. So for a little review, first we looked at what is programming in general, then we talked about just Python and what it is. We looked at how to install Python, and then we looked at the basics. So comments, printing, and more. And then we looked at coding, we learned how to do this stuff, and that was pretty much it for this video. It was just an intro video, just like explaining everything. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. Comment down below what other video ideas you want to see. Then share this video with your family and friends so they'll get to know a little bit of Python too. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!